In this module, we're going to be discussing everyone's favorite food, sandwiches. The objectives for this module consist of identify and describe the key sandwich components, list and describe the 6 basic sandwich construction types, explain the principles of sandwich construction, choose and maintain high-quality sandwich ingredients, identify different types and styles of sandwiches, and prepare a variety of hot and cold sandwiches to order. Virtually all sandwiches are constructed from the following basic elements: bread, spread, filling, and optionally internal garnishes. Most modern sandwiches include all 4 basic elements, with the bread and filling acting as the essential elements. However, without a spread, most sandwiches have a dry mouthfeel. Without internal garnishes, they lack textural contrast. The majority of sandwiches are made with leavened bread, which are made with yeast. Because unleavened bread do not contain yeast to make them rise, they have a flat shape and are also called flatbreads. Some leavened breads are fabricated to give them a flat appearance as well. These are called yeasted flatbreads. The bread product you choose for sandwich making must fulfill 5 requirements. Must be firm and sturdy enough to hold the filling without falling apart, tender and moist enough to avoid making the sandwich tough or dry, fresh, not stale or dried out, priced to fit your budget, and shaped and sized to ensure proper portion control and minimal waste. Sandwich spreads are intended to fulfill several functions. Number 1, form a liquid-resistant barrier that prevents a moist filling from seeping into the bread and making it soggy. 2, add moisture and a rich, smooth mouthfeel to sandwiches having less moist fillings. 3, help the sandwich hold together by acting as a kind of glue, binding the bread, filling, and internal garnishes into one another. 4, add a particular flavor or combination of flavors to the sandwich. 5, add a particular color to the sandwich's visual effect. And 6, in the a la carte service, the choice of spread is often left to the customer, who specifies it when they order. There are some classic sandwiches in which a particular spread, such as mayonnaise on a BLT or Russian dressing on a corned beef special, is dictated by tradition. Some of the various types of spread. The good moisture barrier spreads include things such as butter and mayonnaise, prepared mustard and cheese spreads. Some of the bad moisture barriers, because they contain a lot of water, are vegetable purees and fresh salsas, ketchups and relishes and processed salsas, flavored oils and vinaigrettes. These will cause your bread in many cases to get soggy and defeat the purpose of being a spread, although they do bring flavor to the game. The filling is the heart of the sandwich and is considered its main ingredient. A sandwich filling may consist of a single ingredient or a combination of different ingredients. For deli meats, the most widely used sandwich filling in North America are industrially processed deli meats. While there are quite a lot of the industrially processed deli meats out there, there is something to be said about house making or house cooking your own meats and poultry. There are several advantages to preparing sandwich meats from scratch. By choosing the full range of raw products, you can offer unusual fillings such as roast lamb or grilled duck. Bacon makes 3 important contributions to a cold sandwich. If it's cooked crisp, it adds textural interest. If it's high in fat, it adds richness. And if it's salty in flavor, it helps season the sandwich. Smoked and cured seafood is featured in some sandwiches, particularly in small sandwiches such as canapes. Fried and grilled fish fillets are sandwich standards, and the fried oyster, shrimp, and crawfish po' boys of New Orleans have evolved from working men's lunch to gourmet entrees. Canned fish products, particularly tuna and salmon, are also widely used, as is smoked fish. Often fish and shellfish, especially tuna, shrimp, lobster, or crab, serve as the foundation of mayonnaise-based bound salads. Sardines, anchovies, and pickled herrings are sometimes mixed into bound salads or arranged artistically on open-faced sandwiches.
Types of filling for vegetables and vegetarian fillings. Today, most delis, sandwich shops, and restaurants offer a respectable selection of meatless sandwich fillings. Vegetables add texture, moisture, flavor, and nutrition to sandwiches. Lettuce, onion, and tomato are commonly used in combination with meat, cheese, and other fillings. Celery or bell pepper add a nice crunchy texture to cheese or mayonnaise-based bound salads. Vegetables can also stand on their own as a sandwich filling. Marinated, grilled, or roasted vegetables can be featured in hot or cold sandwiches, and a combination of sliced fresh vegetables and a flavorful dressing wrapped in soft pita bread, lavish, or tortilla becomes a portable salad. Eggs and egg fillings. Hard-cooked eggs often appear as an ingredient in mayonnaise-based salads. They are whether chopped up and combined with seasonings. Hard-cooked eggs can also be sliced thin and used as an attractive garnish on open-faced sandwiches. Fried or scrambled eggs can be layered between pieces of bread or rolled into a tortilla for a breakfast sandwich or a burrito. Fried eggs also top hamburgers or other meats and cheese sandwiches and regional specialties. This is becoming more and more popular these days. Cheeses, everyone's favorite food group. Any of the semi-soft and firm cheeses may be sliced and used as sandwich fillings, either alone or in combination with other ingredients. Deli cheeses are specifically fabricated for use on an electronic slicing machine. Cheese is available in such a variety of textures, flavors, colors, and styles that it's a welcome addition to nearly any sandwich. Sliced cheese can fill hot or cold sandwiches, and melted cheese or cheese sauce make an excellent topping for hot open-faced sandwiches. Flavored cream cheese is a popular filling, particularly with bagels and fruit or nut spreads. Semi-soft and firm cheeses can be sliced, while rind-ripened cheeses such as brie can be incorporated like a spread. Remembering back when we talked about the bound protein salads when we discussed the chapter in salads. Salads made from meat, poultry, or seafood bound with a thick mayonnaise dressing are among the most popular sandwich fillings in North America. Protein salads such as chicken, tuna, egg, and ham salads bound with a mayonnaise or a salad dressing work well alone in sandwiches as well as in combination with other ingredients. Thin slices of fruit pair well with curried chicken or tuna salads. Smoked fish complements egg salad. And thin sliced pickled vegetables are always a welcome addition to bound salad sandwiches. Bound bean and grain salads are often the main element in a vegetarian sandwich. External garnish is a piece of food served outside the sandwich rather than included inside it. So for example, the pickle on the side, or maybe it comes with a ramekin of ketchup or packets of mayo or mustard to go on that. Internal garnishes are part of the sandwich that is enclosed within the bread, except open-faced sandwiches, which are made with a single bread slice, although these are typically still considered internal garnishes as well. In North America, the most common internal sandwich garnishes are lettuce leaves and tomato slices, although there are many, many others. As you can see from the picture on the right-hand side of the screen, there is bacon. Well, I don't really consider bacon a garnish. I consider it a necessity. But there are pickles and onions and even the spread in that. When examining the types of sandwiches, it's important to understand that sandwiches are categorized in one of two ways, either by construction type or by temperature. We'll start by examining construction type. Sandwiches can be categorized into 6 basic construction types: simple sandwiches, double-decker and multi-decker sandwiches, open-faced sandwiches, long roll sandwiches, pocket sandwiches, and wrap sandwiches. A simple sandwich that consists of 2 slices of bread with the spread, filling, and internal garnishes between them. Here's an example of a simple ham and cheese sandwich. Also, a hamburger. Double-decker or multi-decker sandwiches are sandwiches that have one deck, then another layer of filling on top of the ceiling slice, and then finally a third slice of bread on top. The center portion or the center piece of bread is often referred to as a club or a club piece of bread, which is where the sandwich club sandwich gets its name from. The two outer parts are referred to as the heel or the outer piece of bread. Another example of that would be something like a Dagwood sandwich, which is pretty much everything that's in the refrigerator and then put in multiple layers of the sandwiches.
Hello and welcome to Crouton Cracker Jacks. Today I'm going to show you how to make the classic club sandwich. This double-decker sandwich is out of this world. These are the ingredients that you need. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is cook up some bacon. I've got some pieces of thick cut bacon here, and you're going to need 3 slices of bacon for each club sandwich. And once your bacon is cooked the way that you like it, go ahead and remove it from your pan, set it off on some paper towels, drain completely, and that's really all the cooking that you're going to need to do for this sandwich. Next, I'm going to take a tomato, and I'm just going to cut the core out of this and get rid of it. I'm going to slice this into kind of thinnish slices, maybe just about 1/4 of an inch or so. You don't want them too thick because this is going to be quite a thick sandwich anyway. Next, I took 3 pieces of bread and I went ahead and toasted those off camera because you don't need to watch me toast bread. And I'm going to take my bottom slice of bread here, or toast, and I'm going to cover it with some mayonnaise there. Now, I do my club sandwiches a little bit different. Where I live, we order them and get them a specific way, and that's the way I like to make them. So I'm going to start off with a layer of ham, and this is just regular smoked ham lunch meat. I'm going to top that with some smoked turkey breast lunch meat, and then a slice of mild cheddar cheese. I'm going to take my second slice of bread, put a nice layer of mayonnaise on that, and put it mayonnaise side down. And again, take some more mayonnaise and smear that across that toast. And now basically what you're going to do is make yourself a BLT right on top of that ham, turkey, and cheddar sandwich. So layer up your bacon there, and then on top of that bacon, put yourself a nice piece of lettuce. And then I'm going to put 2 slices of tomato right on top of that. And again, smear some mayonnaise on the bottom side of that top piece of toast. And set it right up there on top. Kind of press your sandwich down a little bit. And then I'm going to take some of these frilly toothpicks. Because this sandwich is such a high stacked sandwich, you're going to want something to keep these pieces together when you cut it. So I'm going to use the classic, what they use at all the restaurants around here. Use the frilly toothpicks and put 1 on each side. And then using a very sharp knife, I'm going to cut my sandwich right in half. Turn it and then cut it into quarters. Now to serve this up, I'm going to do it just like they do it in the restaurants. I've made up some French fries here. These are just, frozen store-bought French fries that I made in the oven. And I seasoned those. I'm just going to put those onto my plate. And around the fries, I'm going to arrange the 4 quarters of my club sandwich. And there you go. How to make a club sandwich the Crouton Cracker Jacks way. I hope you guys enjoy, and thanks so much for watching.
Open-faced sandwiches are a sandwich with a single slice of bread topped with a spread, filling, ingredients, and garnishes. In other words, an open-faced sandwich is a sandwich with no lid. Here are just a few examples of open-faced sandwiches. These are very ornate open-faced sandwiches, often referred to as canapes. But you can also have open-faced roast beef sandwich smothered in gravy. Long roll sandwiches are sandwiches made with long, narrow French and Italian breads that can be constructed in 2 different ways. Simply long roll sandwiches, the rolls are split completely in half horizontally and then filled. Hollowed long roll sandwiches, the roll is split along one side, opened out, and flattened into a canoe shape. A good example of this is a French po' boy, or a New Orleans style seafood po' boy. The Italian sandwich is probably the best known long roll sandwich, but also sandwiches such as banh mi in Vietnamese culture is also considered a long roll sandwich. Pocket sandwiches are sandwiches made with yeasted flatbreads that are fabricated and baked in a way that gives them a hollow center, such as this pita or this chicken salad pita. A wrap is a thin, pliable flatbread, and it can be rolled in or around any filling and internal garnishes to make wrap sandwiches. There are two types of wrap rolls, pinwheel and burrito style. There is some thoughts in the culinary world, there is some debate in the culinary world whether a burrito is technically a sandwich. According to this, if it's a wrap, it is a sandwich. Now let's look at temperature. Sandwiches can be categorized in two basic temperature types, hot sandwiches and cold sandwiches. Hot sandwiches include those in which the filling ingredients are served hot, such as hamburger or hot dog, and those where the entire sandwich is heated for service, such as grilled cheese or Monte Cristo. The Cuban sandwich, which is located on your left, is a mixture of pork and pickles and mustard and cheese, and it's grilled and pressed. Whereas sandwiches such as the Kentucky Hot Brown, which is a turkey sandwich, open-faced, smothered with cheese, and usually has some kind of bechamel or Mornay sauce on top of it. And it is, while it doesn't look like it, it's very good. Trust me, it's very, very delicious. Cold sandwiches are made with raw ingredients that are not intended to be cooked, such as vegetables and cheese, or with meat, poultry, fish, or shellfish that is pre-cooked and chilled before using as a filling. Cold sandwiches may be closed or open-faced. Some examples of cold sandwiches: this is a New Orleans Muffaletta, which has ham and salami and usually provolone cheese and olive salad, usually served on a nice crusty bread. Or simple deli sandwich, such as you might find at some local deli-style restaurants. Turkey and alfalfa sprouts and different vegetables on a nice wheat hoagie.
So today we're talking about Muffaletta sandwiches. The Muffaletta. Dude, for one, I just want to say that this recipe has the Babish seal of approval. So, Babish, love you, kiss you. So this sandwich is sort of like an Italian Louisiana thing. Supposedly, Italian immigrants brought this to New Orleans, and this is like a really popular sandwich. It's got all sorts of different things, and it's supposed to be humongous. So with all that said, let's make this, shall we?
Okay, so despite preemptively drinking at an hour that I'd rather not describe, I'm gonna start with 3/4 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon or 195 milliliters of water at around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. To that, you're gonna add 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of instant yeast, mix that together and just let that sit for about 10 minutes. In a medium-sized bowl, mix together 2 3/4 of a cup or 415 grams of bread flour, 1.5 teaspoons or 7 grams of fine sea salt, and 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of granulated sugar. Give that some whiskey business, toss it in a big old stand mixer. Make sure to have the spiral hook thingy. Now to the flour mixture, go ahead and add 2 tablespoons or 23 grams of lard or shortening. You can add it at this point, it's fine. Let it mix just a little bit to get incorporated, let it get a little crumbly. Then add in your yeasty water mixture. That sounds nice. And let that mix on medium-low speed for about 5 to 6 minutes or until you get a nice smooth dough like this. Shake that brother into a ball, pop him into a greased bowl. Cover with plastic wrap and let that rise at room temperature for about an hour or until nice and doubled and thicky like this. And as usual, give it some love, some kisses, whatever feels nice, and then beat it down, slap it around, degas that bit, dump it out onto a lightly floured work surface, shape it into a rough ball, but be careful here. We don't want to get it in too tight because then you're going to end up with a giant burger bun, and let's just say that I might have shaped it a little too tight. So the idea is you sort of want a thick disc. Then just place your forbidden disc onto a parchment-lined baking sheet, cover it with a damp towel, and let it proof for 30 minutes at room temperature. Then remove your towel to reveal a grown-up forbidden disc. Now from here it's very simple. Give it a light brushing of egg wash consisting of 1 egg plus 1 tablespoon of water, sprinkle it with some sesame seeds, then you're going to place it into an oven that's set to 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes, but for the first 5 minutes, you're going to place an oven-safe pan with a small layer of simmering water in it. That's the steam you need. Then after that 5 minutes, remove the pan, let it bake another 5 minutes at 450, then drop the temperature to 375 for an additional 20 minutes or until you get a beautiful golden brown. Now look, this one looks a little bit like a giant hamburger bun because it wasn't quite shaped thin enough, so just make sure to push it down a little bit. Let it cool to room temperature. Before we go all crazy making our sandwich, we need to start with an easy giardiniera, essentially Italian pickles. Don't be scared, it's really easy. So in a medium-sized pot, go ahead and add 1 quart or 950 milliliters of white vinegar, 1 cup or 240 milliliters of water. I also added a little splash of yuzu vinegar, but you don't have to be fancy like me if you don't want to. 1 tablespoon or 10 grams of kosher salt, 2 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon or 9 grams of coriander seeds, and 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of grains of paradise, both of which were toasted. Then just bring that up to a light simmer, and to that you're going to add 5 ribs of sliced celery, half a head of cauliflower, florets, 6 coarsely chopped carrots, and 2 thinly sliced red Fresno chilies. Let that simmer for 6 to 8 minutes or just until the vegetable begins to soften a little bit. Okay, we still want this ultra al dente. Scoop the veggies into an appropriately sized jar, add 1 tablespoon or 5 grams of finely chopped fresh oregano, and cover with the pickling liquid. Make sure that there's enough vinegar to cover. If there's not, you can always splash a little in there to cover it, alright? Nobody's gonna know. Then just let that sit until it comes to room temperature. This makes a lot of pickles, so you can half this recipe if you want to. So you might be thinking, Josh, bruv, I've got the bread. I've got the giardiniera. How do I make this proper? My apologies to the English. Now you can't have a great muffaletta without a great olive salad. Mix together 3/4 of a cup or 165 grams of rough chopped black olives, 1 cup or 190 grams of rough chopped, 1 cup or 190 grams of rough 1 cup or 190 grams of rough chopped pitted Castelvetrano olives. Jesus, that is a tongue twister. Half a cup or 60 grams of rough chopped dry cured olives, the really chewy salty boys. 1 tablespoon or 5 grams of fine chopped fresh oregano, 1 finely diced shallot, 3 cloves of garlic grated, we're almost there, 2 large handfuls of giardiniera, rough chop that too by the way, 3 finely diced Thai chilies, and finally, 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of sherry vinegar, a 1/4 cup or 60 mils of extra virgin olive oil, and salt and pepper to taste. Give that a little mixy mix until you've got a beautiful olive salad. Now look, you can let this marinate overnight, but you could also use it right away. Okay, it's time for all your hard work to pay off. Obviously slice your muffaletta bread in half. I like to toast it in a 50-50 mix of olive oil and butter. Then I just give it a nice generous brushing of garlic oil, which is just 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 garlic cloves grated into that. That's literally it. The layering order is very important. Begin with a generous layer of olive salad, then a few slices of nice ham. Here I have some Prague smoked ham, a few good slices of nice Swiss cheese, and make sure you're covering the total surface area for the most part. A generous amount of sliced Genoa salami, a few slices of smoked provolone, and by the way, the number of slices is up to you. Just be aware that I did build this sandwich a bit tall, so... And finally, top it with a few slices of excellent mortadella, the best you can find. Then top with another layer of olive salad. Restructure your sandwich because you got a little too buck wild on that there meat slices. And finally, crown your king, draw and quarter or eighth your sandwich, and let us begin our extraordinary sandwich feast.
It's Muffaletta time. Ultra thicky. This sandwich is the definition of thickness. Okay, not 1, not 2, not 3, not even 4 C's. I'm talking 43.5 C's. If it's not difficult to put in your mouth, it ain't a muffaletta. Without further ado. I'm in the sandwich zone. Hang on. This sandwich is easily the king of all Italian style sandwiches, in my opinion. I mean, okay, well, there's a couple other ones, but all the time spent collectively bringing it together to bring this perfectly balanced sandwich. You've got the saltiness from all the cured meats, you've got some richness and some creaminess from the cheese, funky salami, fatty mortadella, salty smoky ham, and then you've got the acidic, sort of a little bit spicy olive salad, and that olive oil's like drenched in there. This is a freaking, that's gross, sandwich.
This is like a third date sandwich. It's very balanced.
Bun's a little fatty.
But do you want to know what else is a little bit faddy? B-roll.
Tea sandwiches are small, fancy constructions. They're made with light, soft trimmed bread, typically nice light white bread or rye bread or pumpernickel. They have delicate fillings or spreads that are used to fill them. They're usually cut or rolled into different shapes, and this goes back to the tradition of having finger sandwiches or small 1 to 2 bite sandwiches. And to keep things interesting, shapes make things a little less monotonous on the plate. They're also served as finger food at parties. Typically you would see these as past hors d'oeuvres, or you might see them at tea time in some of the more fancy locations. For instance, the Peabody has a tea time. Similar to this, you have the canapes. Unlike the tea sandwiches, canapes are usually open-faced. These are small 1 to 2 bite appetizers. Modern canapes may use a cracker or a small pancake called a bellini, or even a pastry shell as the base, as opposed to just simply bread. Some canapes I've actually seen done with a roasted potato as a base. A flavorful spread such as butter or flavored cream cheese or mayonnaise is added to it, and this is used to typically prevent the moisture of the ingredients that are used on the canapé from making the bread soggy, because sometimes they're going to be sitting for a little bit of time until they're passed around. The toppings of meat, seafood, vegetable, fruit, or other toppings, the more luxurious the better. You really want these to be an expression of a wow factor, because these are going to be 1 to 2 bites, and you really don't have much of an opportunity to change someone's mind by developing flavors too fast. A garnish, usually something small like tiny minced onions or herbs or caviar, poppy seeds, things along those lines, will give it just a little bit more of a character, a little bit more of a definition to it than just putting a little spread on a plate. Some key takeaways from this module. Sandwiches are made with breads, spreads, fillings, and internal garnishes. Ideal breads for sandwiches should be soft and somewhat chewy, but depending on the sandwich, you can also have a crusty bread. Spreads are designed to prevent soggy bread, providing a barrier between the filling and the bread. If the spread has a high water content, it is for flavor, not as a barrier. Fillings can be spreads, meats, vegetables, eggs, or bacon. Did I mention bacon? Sandwiches can be classified by either construction type or by temperature. From burgers to club sandwiches, hoagies to po' boys, sandwiches are one of the most versatile and loved dishes.